Hey, dude. So you really expect me to believe that you never podcasted or did any kind of radio before? Really? Come on. I'm not an idiot, dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm back at home with the rents. Yeah, see, that's really like...
What's wrong with that?
Nothing,
That's
really.
all I want to do.
Nothing, really.
I mean,
Saving money on rent.
I feel less like an adult.
Yeah.
I don't have like the freedom.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay.
You're fine. I'm 29, so you're allowed.
Oh, thank you for the permission.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Vince allowed
New Jersey
it.
is not, or anywhere in this area, it's not easy to go off on your own. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy expensive.
I was out on my own for 8 years. And
Wow.
now I'm kind of back.
Did you go to school?
No, I was
No?
I moved out with a boyfriend when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
I had to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow up
And
around here?
Everyone, like Philly suburbs.
Oh, okay.
And then like everyone that I talk to now who's like in high school thinking about moving out, I'm like, don't fucking do it. Like
Yeah,
you
you
need
can't save. You
just
can't get ahead.
stay and save as much money and take all of that stress away because it is
Yeah.
so stressful
Oh, my gosh.
doing it on your own right away.
I mean, I've lived away from home, but I was in college and then I was in Thailand. So I haven't been home, but I haven't also really... I mean, I was paying for everything when I was in Thailand, like my utilities, but it's so cheap.
How much was that? Yeah.
Oh, it was $30 a month, maybe. It was so cheap there, and then my school paid for it. So, like, I was on my own, but it was doable there. I was getting paid enough money to do what I needed to do to live.
Even
so
traveling
$30
up
a
there.
month, is that's all relative? So you were making
For
about
utilities.
4 cents an hour, or what? I mean,
That's how much like my
relativity.
utilities would be, and then my the university paid for my housing, and I made about $800 a month.
And that's probably...
Working 40-hour weeks,
Yeah.
teaching, and I was able to travel every single weekend. I went to 7 countries on that money. It's just so cheap there.
And
I
you were
could
alone all
eat
the
for
time?
$3 a day. No, I made friends there, but I went alone.
Right.
I made some amazing friends that also taught there.
So where else did you go?
I went to Bali, a little island off the coast of Bali, Cambodia, Malaysia, Laos, Vietnam, Singapore. Am I forgetting something?
So is our American perception of these countries accurate to your experience?
I don't think so. But that's only just like my perception.
But you were there.
Honestly, you can't being there and just like traveling in general. No matter how much someone tells you about a place, you're never gonna know what it's really like unless you go. Which is why I want to go everywhere. Understand the world.
Most people haven't even gone anywhere though. Most people tell you like, uh-oh.
Or if they
this
do
thing
go,
that-
they stay in a hotel and
Oh,
they
yeah.
do tourist
Yes.
things.
Well, everyone's
Yeah.
different because like
Well,
I
it's
asked
hard.
it's like some people want to go on vacation for an adventure, and some people want to go on a vacation to relax. And with the Monday through Friday 9 to 5, no one wants an adventure. They want to relax.
Exactly.
People
I don't
like,
think the 9-to-5ers know what the fuck they want.
whoa.
Boom! Who wants to work in a high-rise? I don't know what they do in that
Well,
high-rise, but...
The problem is they don't understand the alternative. They think that happiness, that's the happiest they could be, which is fair, but they don't understand there's a whole other level of happiness. It's like another thing that you're missing. Not saying you're missing it, just there's another thing you're not participating in.
Let's not generalize, because I know there are probably some 9-to-5ers that
Happy as
Love it.
are
clams.
happy, you know?
Definitely.
Like-
But I think it might be about what they think happiness is might be incorrect.
But that is their happy, and you can't say it. That it's
Yeah,
incorrect
but then
if
what
it's
if
there.
our happiness is incorrect? Some people like that might think the way that I'm living right now is terrifying. Maybe that's not
Yeah,
happy
that
for
is-
them. It's a subjective thing.
I guess we can only like happiness as far as human goes versus happiness for like a culture that's like advanced. What is their happiness?
Do I inhale a lot or a little bit?
That's on you, man.
I don't know. I never
Just take it easy
know
first.
what I'm doing.
How do you think the wind is on this thing? You have like
I'm
a...
taking it easy. It is.
I don't know. I put my body here. I put this backpack here, and it's pretty aerodynamic. So we're gonna see what happens. If I can use it, I can use it. But either way, we're all here to communicate. Like I've been telling you guys to connect for like ever at this point. Where she's looking for someone to teach her culinary, and you're looking for her to teach her.
Found you.
Sure.
What do you want me to teach you?
Yeah,
There's a bar
he
assistant,
teaches
isn't
cooking
there?
classes. Get it?
Yes,
Cooking
true.
classes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
No, he's a legit culinary guy.
I did
Yeah.
a little research and thumbed through your gram.
Through the gram?
And you do impressive stuff. Is that all from your hands?
It's all me. Yeah, all me, all
That's
my brain.
impressive.
Thank you.
Like honestly, that's like legit, like cover-worthy shit. I don't know what I
Say-
would teach you. You would teach me.
So,
So you already do culinary arts?
Yeah, I'm just self-taught. But what I was saying is like I haven't been trained, and I feel like there are
Techniques.
just certain techniques, certain like vocabulary, certain just like things that I don't know that I could learn. It's a completely different style of cook, like the way I cook, because you just have to think so differently. You're not gonna do like.
How is it different?
So I do all vegan, gluten-free, oil-free, refined, sugar-free. I'll show you
what's
my
it made of?
Yeah, show me.
So what's it made out
What
of?
is it
No,
made
so
of?
it's just air.
It's mostly Play-Doh.
So I just eat air, yeah.
Just
Oh, I
and the
love
important
food. I love nature. And like those potatoes, beets, like the color. I just love cutting into something like that. And it makes me so happy.
I don't know what she would need you for.
That's what I said. The jargon. Did you not hear the jargon?
She has.
I need the jargon so I can talk with
You need it so you can talk with authority. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you need to sound like you know where you're.
Did you
No,
eat
that's
this way when you were traveling?
You don't. I don't.
Yeah, but you're
I tried my best. I ate a lot of
an
rice.
entrepreneur. You could be like.
I
whatever you
had a
want.
hot plate.
I can be
so
whatever I
like
want.
when
Yeah.
I
It
was
doesn't matter.
You're not like
when I
I'm
was
a lawyer.
working like in my
Yeah,
apartment.
rightful check.
I basically ate like rice, broccoli,
Serious?
this like really good pumpkin that it's called kabocha squash.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah, I love that. I ate that. That was basically like my everyday. Pretty basic.
How did it affect your body?
I lost a lot of weight, like, and my muscle, but also because I wasn't able to weight lift as much as I was. I would do a lot of running. It's kind of just the same as like I've been eating like this year as well.
Did
so.
it bother you to have to eat like the same thing all the time?
Not really. I mean, I mixed it up, and then like on the weekends, you'd be surprised. There's so many vegan places like in Thailand and all over Asia. Bali was like the mecca. Like food there was phenomenal. I probably gained weight there, honestly. I was just eating everything.
It's crazy how Thailand's becoming more of like a spot. I'm sure it's big in
But it
California.
always was.
Cambodia is coming up
Yeah.
next.
It's only a spot because you.
It's
know
far.
it now.
It's far from like.
Thailand used to be like people would go and you had to really it was hard to backpack through it because like
So they're developing more. So now
Oh.
there's roads and there's.
It's
not
becoming
even like
more
that.
touristy.
Now there are
not touristy. but
It
yeah.
is more touristy, more destination. Things are getting built up, like the islands
Yeah,
that used to
where's that
have
place I
nothing
stayed?
there.
Pattaya? Fucking Pattaya.
Oh yeah.
What's
They
the
were
end of
literally-
this though? I always think about like how many cities, spaces on this earth can you build up to be tourist locations before we're just Earth is a tourist location.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're a tourist. Or isn't that just the way to live? Like everywhere you are a tourist. Act as if you're a tourist everywhere you are,
We were just talking about this.
right? I mean, seriously, when does that end? Like, all right, now Thailand's built, move to the next island.
And the next
let's
island.
knock out the indigenous and build up another city.
Exactly, that's what we do.
Let's just keep doing this, and then what? We look around everywhere. Look, it's a Vegas. Like, what
Yep.
the fuck?
Yep. No,
Yeah, like,
that's
we're
true.
gonna have
That's
fake,
what's
we're gonna
happening.
have fake mini cities
Fake
everywhere
trees.
that nothing's gonna have a real city feel.
Right.
You know, like everything's trying to be like every other city.
We're just gonna be this. We're just gonna be.
Like everyone
city.
has that corner, like that could be in any city. Like just some fucking hipster like fucking place with like wood slats.
But I'll tell you where I think it really is going. It's going to where, like, let's take our perception of the Middle East as like destroyed, right? Maybe before it was destroyed, it was like Manhattan, and it was like, yeah, it's old, just knock it down, blow it up, let's start over, and then maybe like that's the cycle.
So
That's
actually,
been going on well longer than we can ever imagine.
When I was in Malaysia, I met this guy from Syria. He was working at the hostel in Malaysia, and on the table, like in the lobby area, he put a brochure for tourism in Syria. Okay.
Sounds pleasant.
Tourism in
And it was
Syria.
like, make Syria like your next like destination. And I was reading, it had like the history and like things that you could go do and like just the rich culture and the food, and it was like this it just was so inviting. And we have here in America this horrible image of the Middle East, but it's just this beautiful place with so much history and so much culture and like so much landscape, temples, like there's so much there. But we don't think of it as that.
Real history.
Right now it's
Real
war,
story
it's
there.
destroyed. But I was just in Vietnam, and my mom, like when she was growing up, that was where the war was, okay? She was like, I can't believe you're going to Vietnam, like when I was your age. Like, why would you go to Vietnam for like a vacation,
Yeah.
you know? And now, like me and her daughter is going there, and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
So why does the media do that then?
Why
They
does
don't want
the-
you exploring the world. They want you living in fear.
So why was it Vietnam 60 years ago, whatever, I don't know.
Because America,
And then now Vietnam's
war
also-
is money, okay? Stay in war somewhere, through another country,
Terrorism.
back them up, you know, make money. That's all it is. That's what we did. We went in there in the Middle East. We went in there in Vietnam.
But what-
we bombed the shit out of Cambodia and Vietnam.
But what if the real money
Destroyed
is in development that comes from a war? What if like
Oh, that's where the money is actually made.
Yeah, like the war is just fake as shit. It's like, but we're gonna do this so we keep everybody out and we start building, and then we start inviting them. Like now the money comes flowing in, you know.
Yeah, but the war is not fake.
I don't mean fake.
Yeah.
I mean over embellished.
It's bullshit.
Exaggerated. It's like, wait, seriously, you're doing that? Why? Why are you going to do this? Misguided.
They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do, and it's just like we can go to college. You know, certain people have the ability to go to college, whereas some people don't. So they see that as the other alternative. So instead
it's
of
not many options as an American 18-year-old.
Right.
College or war? What are you gonna do?
Pretty much.
Or a supermarket.
And a lot of them are just normal ass kids that don't really want to do it, but they have to do it, and everyone's proud of them, which we should be. You know, they're doing something I'm not willing to do, but
Being like that is not true for everyone. That is true for some people, but some people, their families have been involved in the military.
Yeah.
And we need people that want to protect this country because
Absolutely.
we are a huge power, and people want to infiltrate us, and we need them.
the thing-
If they
If
you
they,
know
if
who's
we
infiltrating
didn't,
us?
if we didn't have the military,
I don't buy it because it's all
We don't
rich.
need-
I think it's all rich and poor, first of all. So if you're here from another country on a visa, you're like the wealthy of your country. If you're Syrian and you're here, you didn't get on a boat like a slave and you got on a first class flight because your dad and mom had money and said, go to America and make some money. The poor people of Syria are in Syria. So between those two people, who's infiltrating us? The poor people that hate us because they're poor, they can't get over here. Or the people that are already successful enough to get on the plane, first of all, to travel all the way over here and get a job. I don't even know how to go to Syria right now. And I find like I'm intelligent, right? I think I am. I wouldn't know how to get a job in Syria, but if my dad had $1 million, sure, son, you want to go to Syria? You get on the plane.
Well,
I know a guy in Syria.
That's individual people, but I'm also just talking about other countries, like
Well, I know, I'm
actually
picking
with
Syria, but any
warfare,
country.
with their army, you know, like
Yeah, wanting to.
If we
I
were
think-
defenseless and they knew that,
well, I hope as a
we
society,
do.
I hope
That's just the
two
reality
women
of
are
it.
saying that we need, two feminine are saying that we need
We do. It's
a military.
it's a reality.
It's
Well,
the,
here,
yes,
I,
it is
I,
a reality.
I want to bring this reality forth where we don't need a military anymore. We can just talk it out. As far as military goes, we could destroy another country at the blink of an eye. At the push of a button, we can destroy the whole planet. I think it's time we sat down and realized how much power we all have, because even third world countries are nuclear powerhouses now. So let's say, okay, guys, listen, if we wanted to, we could destroy shit. Let's all figure out how to work together, because obviously the same planet that we share is going to shit. Let's try to fix that.
I think we have figured out how to work together. We're doing it constantly, and
Yeah.
and they just somebody wants us to focus on the negative so that it makes our lives, our mundane, truly fucked up lives individually, not seem so bad. Because hey, Syria's got it worse, or Vietnam's got it worse. At least I don't have it that bad. But then when you take a look at yourself and your surroundings and what actually is bad, we're being destroyed. We're just being destroyed, whether it be working paycheck to paycheck, not being able to, social mobility doesn't exist anymore in this country. If you're middle class, you're middle class. You're poor, you're poor. You're whatever. There's no mobility there.
There's mobility,
What
but
about
it's very, very difficult.
You're talking about in this country?
Just our own problems that we have, and they're not bad problems.
Well, you look
Yeah.
at you look at it.
Comparing what we have here to other countries.
Sometimes we don't have. At least we're not living in
Right.
that way. Like what way? They're probably happy.
Well, the thing
they
is,
probably like
the
that.
thing is, our brains are so preoccupied with work and time. Time is like the most. When all I see are people rushing. You know, now that I'm living this life, all I see are people trying to get somewhere on time. So you have the factor of getting somewhere on time. You have the factor of addiction to all the food and products you're addicted to, caffeine, sugar, meat, everything, that your brain doesn't have the ability to actually think. So once you free your mind from these addictive thoughts, you actually free your mind to think.
Mhm.
So it's like once you clear yourself, it's like you take a step back and you can actually go, all right, this is kind of what's going on. You know, like I'm so fortunate to have broken past every one of those addictions where I can just see life for what it is, instead of like thinking about the next soda I'm having or thinking about buying the next pack of cigarettes, because that's literally all you think about when you're there.
Sure.
So you know the hierarchy of needs? Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure this out.
Okay.
I mean, I don't remember.
Shelter. Do you know
put
them?
on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
what
yeah,
are they?
now I'm put on the spot.
Oh,
But it's
you know
yeah,
that.
it's like
Just Google
food.
it.
She knows everything. Don't let her. She doubts herself.
No,
but
I don't know everything. I don't want to like.
No, I like this because I understand this a little bit, but I want to hear your take
Also,
on it.
it's it relates to like chakras. So you know you have your root, blah blah blah, and then and now I feel put on the spot.
Uh-oh.
But
But you need to have all those things fulfilled
yes,
before you
need
can
to have
reach
your
a
basic
higher.
needs fulfilled before you can reach a higher state. If you are struggling paycheck to paycheck, if you are thinking about where your next meal is coming from, that's all you're thinking about, because survival is the most important thing. Surviving. The organism has to survive, because if you're not alive, then what the hell is there? You're dead.
Well, that's a
Whatever.
good question, yeah.
You know, survive.
What's the point of surviving? Do we really need to?
Once you attain food, shelter, and you don't have to worry about it,
You can thrive.
that's when you can thrive. That's when you get into your
That's when you can.
your higher chakras,
Yeah, that's when you
okay,
can start.
or the top of the pyramid,
Yeah.
and you can start thinking philosophically, thinking about why you exist.
Because you have the time and you have the space.
Exactly.
So, do you think all our needs are met?
Ours?
Do you think all your needs are met? All your those Maslow's hierarchy of needs, are they all met in that right order? And are you?
There's a few. So there's another like.
Yours?
There's the standard of Maslow's, right? Maslow's hierarchy.
Sure.
And
Need
then
one
from
before
there,
the
I
other
feel
kind
like
of
there's
thing.
also self-mastery. Like that, then you can start figuring out yourself.
Sure.
Like once
That's
all
like the
your
last
things
thing,
are met,
self-realization.
Yes, there are layers of that.
Yes.
Once you're self-aware, then there's layers.
then
the
you can
top
really
is.
dig into the self.
Enlightenment is the top, right?
Sure.
And
sure.
you get, what is it, reabsorbed in Purusha.
Oh shit, that's further than I have any idea about.
I mean, there's just so
I'm
many
only
like schools of thought
Oh, yeah.
that all kind of go together,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. But
You know what I thought of today? Someone could have a thought and share it with somebody else. They didn't have to have that thought, but then that thought has then entered their brain. So it's their thought then as well.
Sure.
And it's like a beautiful way for us all to grow as thinkers
By sharing your thoughts.
by sharing information and thoughts and like.
So when I say something, if I say tomorrow it's going to rain, no, it's too much. I don't want to control nature. Tomorrow, manifest something. What?
tomorrow will be a good day. Simple as that.
Yeah, I know. I want something more. Okay, it's fine. Tomorrow will be a good day for that guy. All right. So now I said it. You guys heard it.
What if he wins the lottery and we see him in the news tomorrow?
No, but hold on. Let's get a good look at him.
So some guy just walking down the street.
But my point is, so I said it. It came out of my mouth. You guys heard it because you're close enough. But the waves are still going, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller. But they're still there. And did it get to him? And he just doesn't even know. And he's like, tomorrow I'm gonna have a good day, and I don't even know why.
Well, I think
Because I just said it.
it's more. I think once it
It hit
escapes your
his brain. Like our
Well,
thoughts are just sound waves that other people said.
Yeah, thoughts.
And our voice
are
literally is sound waves.
That's what I mean. But we just can't hear it because we're not close enough and the waves aren't large
Yeah.
enough. But if there's whatever that guy says is going to hit our brain at some point, we're like, why did I just think that? You know? I don't know.
It's
Where
interesting.
do the sound waves
There
go?
he goes walking back.
You're gonna have a good day, bud. He wanted more affirmation. He's like, I felt really good when I walked by there.
He's probably lost.
He's lost.
He's
Come
probably
on.
lost.
He could just be
Today's
lost.
a bad day, but tomorrow will be a better one. I'll
Yeah,
figure out where he's going.
I don't know how today could be a bad day for anybody.
No.
He literally just turned as that was happening. He turned around and said, "Fuck this."
You just changed the whole course of his life.
I'm
honestly.
saying, why
He
we
didn't
all
get on
have.
that bus
what
because
if we
he knew
all
that
have
he
that-
had to have a good day tomorrow.
What if we all have that power and just from our words? So that that whole idea of don't say anything negative because it's like just saying fuck you. That goes and it hits someone. Fuck me. Like what? Why do I hate myself?
Words are so powerful.
Yeah, even
They
the ones you can't
really
hear.
are.
Even the ones you can't really hear.
Especially negative words. Especially, I didn't like the word hate.
Yeah, I could tell
But,
that.
like,
Great.
I don't even like to use that word. But I really don't like when I hear people talking negatively about themselves, about other people. It kind of makes me feel
So
like I want to
judgmental.
shake it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Power script, baby. Shake it off.
Get that away.
I know.
Yeah, shake it off.
Yeah, I know.
Like get that out of your brain. Get that thought pattern like out of your brain. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know why?
Other
Because
people.
when you hear it once from someone, you understand they're doing it over and over in their head, and they just, it's just annoying to like. They think like, "Well, I just said like that." You didn't just say that. It's your pattern of thinking that made me have to say this to you. You said it for a reason. You didn't say it because you randomly said it. You said it because that's how you think. That's not a good way to think. It's not a way to go through life.
Well, I had a good question yesterday. I think, can everybody be happy, or do we need people to be?
Suffering.
Do we need negative people?
Do we need suffering?
to have
We
positive?
need suffering.
So are we only on top of the world in America because we're being fed all the negativity from the world?
Well,
It depends
So it's
where
like-
it depends where the middle balance is. Like where is that middle so that we could all be okay.
also,
How negative does
all
negative
be
have to
okay.
be, and how positive does positive
we
have
can
to
all
be.
just kind of meet in the middle somewhere.
But where's that middle? Can that middle be raised as it's lifting? Like you know, like in that kind of float, like as they're both going up, the one goes up too. Not like a seesaw per se.
I think
but
the entire world's hierarchy of needs are met. And we're talking about shelter, food.
Shelter and food.
But they're not
we've
met.
covered
They're
that.
struggling.
Not
It's
even in
that
this
they're met,
country
they're
do people
struggling.
have shelter and food every day.
Yeah, you were talking about the homeless people on Boulevard.
Well, I mean, could just be their part-time gig, too.
It could be, but it might
And
not be.
if you're talking about other countries, I mean, like,
Yeah,
But it's only
yeah.
relative. They're happy in their
No,
their
not
smaller
everyone.
homes that
Not
don't
every-
have 5 bedrooms.
No,
I
they
hear what
don't
you're
have.
saying,
They
but
don't
not
have
everyone.
homes.
There's a lot
Okay.
there's a lot of people that just don't
I'd be
have it.
outside. I would be outside of tourist areas, Cambodia especially, because that country was in the 1970s. There was a genocide there, just completely ravaged by war and just evil and death. And there, yes, 3 million people were murdered, viciously murdered by their own
3 million.
people. But so that country, that was in the 70s. That country is still coming up, and I was in a tourist area, one of the largest temples in the world, and there are babies, literally babies, holding other babies naked, begging for food, begging for water, begging for money.
It's a good hustle. Send my little girl to do that, too.
And they do, and the parents do that, but it's
Right.
just,
It's a job.
But you can't assume that
And then they
that's,
go home and they eat and they
that's
stay in their nice home.
situation.
I mean,
No.
it's not a proud job. Like,
no,
we're
they don't
Americans
have
are
nice
proud.
homes.
Americans are proud. We would never do that. We'd be like, no, I'm getting
There's
a real
Americans
job.
who do that. You get to a point where you do anything to have those needs met.
I'd
You
also,
get hungry enough, you do anything.
Yeah, but
I'd
I
also
mean,
walk by, in my town I lived in, like in Thailand, I would walk by families living in lean-to shacks, literally like pieces of metal they're living underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're making food. I mean, making money to eat. I don't know, but their hierarchy of needs absolutely not met.
They're suffering.
Now, are they happy? I
No-
think that
no
depends on your
rent.
perspective.
No rent, no cable bill, no car insurance, no health insurance, no
Well,
debates about
they don't
war.
even know that those
no-
things. They can't even think about those things.
Exactly.
So,
They don't have the space. They don't have those
Yeah.
needs met.
so I guess
Well, naturally,
I
they're
don't
not things to be thought about. That was just our cultural standard. But we were born into this. Oh, by the way, when you turn 18, are you going to rent or buy?
that.
By the way, when you turn 18,
think
school
about
or war?
But you know,
When
I'd
you think
rather
about-
have that
We don't have
decision than
choices
be
here.
sitting in a lean-to shack with my family watching my.
Trying to decide which kid you're going to feed.
See, to me,
Exactly.
that seems, to me, it seems so romantic.
Well, let's
All of us huddled in a little shack, like, what are you going to do? Let's make up stories.
for once or twice.
If
that's
that
fun,
was
but not
a
like
choice.
not because you have to.
As a responsible parent, you would make the life beautiful for your kids. You would say, no, you would make a magical story. The kids don't know. Children don't know how bad it really is, no matter what the conditions are, because that's their
When you
conditions
grow
they're
up
born into.
when you grow up, when you're still living in this shack, like.
Well, it's an interesting thought because if you look at us, we were born into this culture, like you said. Every being that's on Earth just came out of nowhere or wherever and popped into this reality.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how rigid our set of rules are,
Yeah.
where we came from. You know, whereas Native Americans, the way they lived, they understood how to live free on this planet. Whereas the European, Anglo-Saxon, whatever the fuck we are, came in and just like destroyed all concepts of how to live on this earth.
Well, I think we stamped a different way to live on this earth. Like, oh no, by the way, you
Well, it's
work and you make
disconnected.
money, and it works
And
over
I'm
in
better
Europe.
than you now.
It's
Yeah,
a very
I'm bigger, I
disconnected
have
way
guns,
to
I'm
live.
stronger, I can kill you, I can kill your family, just do it,
And
or
the caste
get out.
system.
The Native Americans and other indigenous peoples all over the globe, because there's, like in Australia, there's the indigenous, and they all have similar ways of living, as they were living with nature, alongside nature.
Symbiotic with nature. They were nature.
We're so far removed from
We
nature.
kind of came
make
in
everything
guns
the opposite.
blazing. We're like fire going through a forest, burning it down, whereas they're like water, like a river going through it, feeding it, you know?
Yeah.
Taking and giving at the same time instead of just taking.
I mean, we all
burning.
agree how tranquil and meditative and fulfilling nature is when you're in it. Digging in rock, building fires, or just walking in nature. There is something there, and I just think we're so far removed that we don't even know what we're doing in a park when we're there. Like before, like, oh, I'm in a park, I'm supposed to harvest dead wood so I can start a fire tonight, or I'm supposed to,
Well, not a park in woods.
well, in woods, I don't mean a park, I mean the natural area. Yeah, like this is just the natural area.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people are like, taking a walk in the park, that's fucking dumb, man. It's like, that's because you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing there. You think you're supposed to be a banker. You think you're supposed to be a lawyer. You're actually you're 6'1", you're supposed to be a warrior. You're supposed to defend us if anybody kind of comes around. That's really what you are, you know? Oh, you, young lady, make some babies because we need more.
It's
Once
true.
again, I know plenty of people are working and they
Happy
love
as
to go
hell.
hiking and they love to go on trips. They save
Yeah.
money. They go hiking. They go on nature walks after their day at work.
Right.
9 to 5. Like, does not mean that you're not in touch with so many things. I know so many intelligent people that are in touch with themselves. They do yoga.
Are you a 9 to 5er?
I'm not a 9 to 5er.
No,
She's a defender of
I'm just
people.
kidding. I don't want to.
I'm a
blanket.
defender of people.
I'm not trying to blanket
It's
everybody.
extreme generalization.
I know it is, but I didn't bring it
You're
up.
using it
Just
as an
BT
example.
dubs. I didn't bring up the word 9 to 5er in this conversation. I was just latching onto it.
No more labels on this show.
Yeah.
Rules.
I don't like labels.
Well, okay.
Well,
fine.
It is a way to
can't label it
categorize
as
our
a rule.
environment in our world. That's a way to communicate ideas. But
Well, then, to be more correct, I'm referring to people that I know personally, not
Okay.
generally. I'm speaking of great friends of mine that
Okay.
I have lost touch with.
You feel that they're miserable.
That I think they're unhappy, and they come to me and they tell me that they're unhealthy and unhappy, and I utter 4 words and they're like, you're fucking crazy. Like, well,
Okay.
I tried. You want to
There's-
eat unhealthy and not take walks in nature? Go fuck yourself.
again, with the negative energy. Wow, I really feel that.
This is my Northeast Philly coming out a little
Yeah,
bit.
no,
Because
I
that's
feel,
what I'm referring
I feel,
to.
I
My
feel
Northeast
it. No,
Philly
I feel
world.
I feel it.
This is
I know.
passion.
Anything Philly involved.
This is
Like
passion.
being a human in Philadelphia, you have to be tough.
And my
you have
mom's
to
from
be
Philly.
like-
My mom's
Is
from
she?
Philly.
What part?
No, a Jersey girl, but.
What part of Philly?
Springfield.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember exactly. Like.
I apologize.
How was being at ground zero after the fucking Eagles won? Living in Philly.
Are you Eagles fans?
Is that the first night we kissed?
They can't.
I think it was.
My family
That's
is.
where we were at.
Yeah,
while the rest of the people were
No.
focused on this thing. I mean, in fairness, we saw the last 3
We
minutes.
saw the last 3.5 minutes. There was a party in the bar at the restaurant.
Nice. Were you,
Really
you
called
in
down
Philly?
zero. No.
No.
I avoided Philly on that Thursday.
Oh yeah. My family are huge Eagles fans.
Are they?
Huge.
Are you?
I don't really give a shit, but like I'm happy for the city, and I'm just happy that my family is so happy. Like they're crying.
I always get
Yeah.
worried.
Yeah.
This is why I get worried, because of that not constant, but often thing I hear about the collapse of the Roman Empire and how it kind of started breeding from like this overhype of like the gladiators and what they do all the
Exactly
time.
what it
It's
is.
like, you know what's happening here? While you guys are all paying attention to that, they're getting ready to figure out how to blow this shit up. So it's like that's in my like kind of awareness of a possibility, like because it's happening, you know, like or a stadium was no different than a collapsed Colosseum from Roman times, perhaps, if that's true.
Yeah,
But
football is our modern day gladiators,
Right.
definitely.
yeah, and we're like, it's getting so big. How much bigger can this get? You know,
It's like they do contracts like $11 billion a year.
11D.
how do you get bigger than
Like,
this?
Like, how much money do these people need
It's
just to
our
play a
economy.
sport?
It's a chunk of our economy.
And then I always wonder, do you want your team to win because then your economy goes up, like around that
Sure.
time, like you have the big parade, you have all of the Dick's Sporting Goods bring in all of the we're the champion
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, is that really why we want to win? Because we're gonna get like a boost?
Not
That's
necessarily us, but
definitely
somebody.
that's partially why I think the cities would like their teams to win.
Yeah.
But and the NFL, like I'm sure the NFL was rooting for the Eagles to win because they're gonna sell so much more merchandise when an underdog wins for the first time than when the Patriots win again.
So
you know?
what would happen to this country if we found out tomorrow that it's all rigged?
NFL's rigged?
Yeah, and it's based upon the highest bidder. Like, Philly, you want to win this year? It's going to cost you.
I think it would just be a slow transition like wrestling. You know, people would just accept it and ching that.
I mentioned like,
That
oh,
would
it'd be interesting if
so
football was rigged
weird.
to my brother, and he was like, just hurt. Like, why would you say that? Because that's like fantasy. Like, my dad was like, I feel like it's Christmas. Like, that's your
The sense of community
Mhm.
after something like that. Like, that's one reason
I
I
do
would have
like
gone down
that.
to the parade.
Yes.
Like, to feel that energy.
That energy in the city.
Everyone just so happy all together.
Yeah.
Like, we finally did it, and we did it together.
It's too much emotion to invest in something I have no control over. That's
You
one
mentioned
thing.
that
You know, like
before.
I want to live my life and I want to
Yeah.
feel how I feel. I don't want to have a team affect how I feel.
Don't you know that if you wear your lucky socks, they'll probably win?
Wait a minute, you have lucky socks?
Only when I want my team to win, I wear them.
What's your team? The Jersey
That's the thing, I don't
Wildcats
wear
or
'em.
something?
I don't wear 'em,
Villanova?
so-
No, what? Jersey doesn't have a team.
Yeah,
You guys
the
leave
Jersey
Philly.
Wildcats. That's my favorite hockey sport.
So sports is not a thing on your radio station, correct? Not really like a WIP.
Yeah, we're talking
podcast.
sports here on Catching Up with Vince.
Catch all the action. Call in. Can people call in?
Yeah,
Call in.
Call in, yeah.
Call in.
One team scored more than the other, and some people were happy, some weren't. That's your sports for the day.
And life went on.
No, I do love sports. I do. I love sports. I love being active.
Playing though.
I love watching
playing is
other. I
awesome.
like watching certain people play. Like, I love watching rugby be played. Like,
Rugby? That's like an intense sport, isn't it?
yeah, that's so fun. Like college teams, it's fun. It's fun to watch people play sports. It's fun to play them.
What if we played a sport right now? Like we had a ball and we threw
Well,
it.
I was
I should
me and
have
Chased
my
Aaron,
each other.
yeah, me and Aaron were just talking about how I
Like
want to
rugby
play.
ball.
We need to play sports again. Like we were walking by St. Paul's Catholic school, and there was just a bunch of children playing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why? She's like, why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, kickball
Yeah.
or something.
Yes,
Kickball.
exactly.
That's what I said. I said I
And you
want
can
to
just
play kickball.
feel like the energy, the laughter, the running around
Mhm,
all day. Just
You know why I think adults don't play sports like that anymore?
you need to play more.
Like free-spirited thinking adults, because it's too much. We can't handle that kind of physical connection without it. I can't. I'm fine. I'll speak for myself. When I was 10, if I went like this to a girl, I was playing. I'm 30-something now. If I'm playing rugby and I go like this to a
And you
girl,
can't separate the contact
I
in your head.
there might be like for me a connection that
Ah.
I can't deal with.
See, that's-
I'm hands off from sports because I might like it in a different way.
it's really interesting.
Oh, so you talk about like when you were a kid playing with
When you're
your
10,
Whatever
you're
plays
playing
together.
whatever you play. You
Oh,
yes,
Hey.
dudes mostly.
So I like
Young
girls
dudes.
and guys.
Sure.
And I played rugby against
Sure.
girls.
Yeah.
And
Fuck 'em up.
Have you seen like the meme? It's like if you're bisexual and or queer or whatever, then everyone is prey.
yes, yes.
I actually
we
can't.
can-
I can't be friends with anybody because everyone is
for you
fucking
then.
prey.
Everybody is right, yeah.
It's
But,
true. Let's
but,
take the
but
whole
no,
world.
I could separate it. I was playing a game. Like, I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna touch your hot. I'm like, I'm gonna get you down the ground. I'm gonna get that ball.
Right.
That's what
That's
I'm
kind of
thinking
hot
about.
too. If you're open to playing different roles, that's hot too. Get me down, baby, catch me.
Right,
Let's play.
but that's not.
I don't
all
see.
you're
I don't
playing.
see people
Some
as.
people
I don't
can't
see
separate
people
those
as
things.
sexual. I don't see them like that.
I think
Some
not
people
everyone
do.
is sexual.
A lot of people do, but I'm also a little different. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
don't sexualize people. It takes me a really long time to like someone.
Mhm.
Because like I might sound like I'm like bullshitting. This is just how I am. Like my friends know this is how I am. I can't like someone physically or emotionally until I get to know them. Like really get to know them, and like it's almost like a blind is lifted, and then I see their body and I like see their face. I'm like, oh,
And it's a full
okay.
connection.
This is
Yeah,
who
I'm
you
like,
are.
you're cute.
Oh, I'm down with that. That's different than playing sports.
But like,
So you can't
I
judge
don't.
someone.
I don't
like,
look
on,
at
like,
someone in
Tinder or
sexual.
something.
Yeah, I mean, I
the
can
same
say
way.
you're pretty. I can say you're cute. Like you have a nice physique or something. I
But
can
you're not attracted to
appreciate
somebody.
you
until-
as a human being.
Yeah.
But I don't think what can I do sexually with you. I think that is
a fun
kind
game.
of like
Grimy.
dehumanizing in a way.
Why? It's very
Objectifying.
sex is
Objectifying.
sex is a very human thing though. It might be the thing that makes us human, the fact that we have enjoyable sex together.
Well, you
mean,
guys
we're
are
not-
so far on the ends of the spectrum, but I hear both of you. Like,
I
I can tell, I can
understand
see
what
where
you're
both of you
saying.
coming from.
Yeah, we'll
like,
come
you're
to the
just-
middle ground.
But that's not all we are.
find a
That is not all we are. Right?
I know, we're so much more than that.
But
We
some
like
people,
to eat.
some people, that's the focus. It's like, where is your
Yeah.
focus as far
We're
as?
not much. We're
Oh,
not
I
as
love
much.
to eat.
You know what? I think we're more than we actually. We think we're more than we actually are. I mean, it is really. If you want to boil this down, it is sex, sleep, and eat. Everything else is like, yeah, I'll go do this today or that today. Like we don't. There's not much more to a human than that.
Yeah, we
there's
just
other
we think
needs.
a lot in between.
Yeah, we're just in between. Is a thinking thing.
So yeah, we do have those animalistic instincts. Yeah, it is. Make sure you eat. Procreate, and we do so many things to make sure that happens. I mean, you look at peacocks in nature, and they have their feathers and stuff.
Yeah, you wanna make sure it's the
Everything that we
perfect
do,
partner.
we're doing our hair, we're doing our makeup,
Yeah.
the way you dress, the way.
That's all culturally sanctioned though, because if you can get past that, you find out that it's just in the eyes.
It is all culturally sanctioned, yes, but what I'm saying is that we've just taken those animalistic instincts to make yourself, mating rituals, to make yourself appear nicer, appear bigger, or whatever. We have just like these now more intricate and like sophisticated ways of making ourselves look better. Of spreading our feathers.
Well,
exactly.
What do you think the bare bone human peacocking looks like?
The thing with human peacocking is it becomes showing off, and it becomes egotistical.
What is that?
So
What is that
work.
if it's just the four of us and like we're almost naked, like in little loin cloths with a fire? Like, what does peacocking look like then? Like
to me,
whatever.
Human in their most natural form could see auras.
That's
and you can feel them. So you're attracted to the aura you're attracted to. Sure. You know, you can't understand why you're attracted to someone sometimes, but you just feel it. And back then, when we were closer to nature, that's just like you knew. Like you couldn't even. You
felt it.
I think about this a lot. Like you couldn't even look in a mirror to adjust how you looked. So you just naturally, when you met someone, just kind of knew. Yeah.
We still have that ability. We've just, if anything, the modern day peacocking is not peacocking at all, but a veneer in front of that, like blocking that. Like makeup is a complete, like, I'm gonna pretend to look beautiful and healthy.
It's messing with nature as far as makeup and spraying alcohol where our pheromones are supposed to be released.
Perfumes.
That messes with our natural ability to attract a mate based on our scent.
Yeah, all that stuff. This is like a 60s talk right now. Like, let's stop wearing deodorant. Let's get a commune over there. Fuck the government.
It's true. There was a revolution then, and it couldn't really break through. Maybe this time we can.
I think it did break through. I just think it knew it couldn't fight this, and it got out. These communes, I think I've heard of these like hippie camps, we'll call them for lack of better terms, in Mexico. You know, they just said we can't do it in America. There's too much powers fighting against it, so we're just going to do it elsewhere.
I've thought about buying like 100 acres and just living somewhere with a bunch of friends and figuring it out.
That is the Epicurean model right there. Live with a bunch of friends, eat cheese, and just figure it out.
You don't think that it would
Obviously
get kind
not
of
cheese.
like
It'll be a vegan community.
Animal Farm? Like there eventually would be
mundane
a Simba and a Napoleon, and all
that?
animals are created equal except for ones that have 4 legs.
No, I think if I think a community like that, if it maintains its teachings within its community, like we're not taught by our community, we're taught by a government.
So is there no leader?
No, we are taught by our community. We are shaped by our community.
No, we are when we're younger, but then you're shoved into a system that someone dictates is what you should learn.
He's not saying that. He's saying we're not taught by like a village, you know, where people are just like raised in the village.
If everybody in the village felt the same way, anybody can parent that kid. Like, you smacked him? Yeah, he needed to be smacked. I trust you. Or you yelled at him? I trust you. Yeah, we all have the same values. The problem with America is our values are so distorted. One guy likes this, one girl likes this. Our values are so off to the right and left of one another that we can't
and we
don't even want other people to teach our kids because I don't know your values. I don't know what you're going to teach my kid.
But at the same time, we do have, it depends where you grew up too. But we do have communities. Like we do have the way that we think on the East Coast as opposed to the way that someone grew up in the middle of the country or in California. Yeah, maybe it isn't like that village, but there is this vibe. Like if you're from Jersey, like you have
this sense of
a community, maybe a more widespread community, but also just like your family, your family friends. Like I grew up with my parents' college friends and all their kids, and that was a community.
Sure.
I mean, not everybody grows up that way, but I think we definitely still have a sense of that.
It exists, but it's not prevalent.
Definitely, I don't feel a prevalence of any tight-knit community anywhere.
You got to realize that was back in the 90s. You know, right now is a different time. And back in the 90s, there was this wonderful time when we were still going outside. It was right before technology took over, where now that sense of community is in an iPad.
So you have kids, right? So I don't know really how kids are growing up in today. So I guess you would know now. What do you do to raise your kids and to like expose them maybe to a sense of community, to learning new values?
Or what's it like for them growing up even?
Yeah.
To take it to, because we don't even know.
I know my childhood, you know, and like other people's childhoods. I don't know the kids now.
Well, is my situation? Yeah, it's
just
very
different.
So it's really hard in this culture for me as a man or a father to practice what I truly believe, because the values of people around me are such that of being fucked up. So I don't even have somebody that I could say, what do you think about homeschooling? Because my community says, you're fucking crazy, you got to get them in public school immediately, because that's what we think is right.
Yeah.
So, or, just feeding a child right and having problems with, you can't send a child in Philly to a daycare. They're not feeding the kids right, so that's crazy. I can't truly practice my core values under this cultural trap.
You just need to find people that are more like-minded.
Hello.
Like,
nice to meet you.
So it is there. That is there. I know it's hard to find those people. Like, you might have people in your life now that are going against how you think, but there are people who think like you. Mm-hmm. I was homeschooled. My siblings were homeschooled, and we went to homeschool co-op. Some people thought my mom was crazy.
Homeschool.
Yeah. And we travel all over New Jersey with other people who are homeschooled, and
it's a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing, and yeah, there's some friends of my parents, I'm sure, that were like, "You're crazy. You're taking your kids out of school," but that's what they felt was right, and they found those like-minded people. Right. They do exist, you know. Yeah. Like I went vegan, and I was the only one, and then now I have more and more vegan friends. Like I met him because of that, and I actually created my own community.
You manifested it.
Yeah, I manifested it, and it's better than I could have imagined because I created it.
Yeah,
sure. It's kind of like
I built it, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like once you break the mold, you also find other people that have broken the mold.
Yeah.
If you're staying in the mold, you're still there. You're not going to find too many people that are outside of the mold because they're not even there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once you get to, like, for example, I quit my job and I started this business, and I've met so many people along the way that are just so like-minded, and it was because now that's what I do. I do food truck events with other people who quit their jobs to start food trucks.
Right.
So we're all like-minded. Right. So we're all like-minded, And now that you've met all these people that have a food truck, it's like, who do I want to be like now? What do I want to do now? Like, what other community do I want to start, or what other community?
The possibilities are really endless.
Like, you find that support. Like, I met you through the food truck because I'm vegan. I'm like, oh, another vegan.
I think a part of the problem is
friends, and I have this support system now.
You say this word support, and I have to find the support. I think where I'm finding trouble is that it's not really cool to support other people's kids in our culture.
As far in what sense?
Any sense.
Maybe that's just in Mayfair.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know.
But you know what I mean? It's not like supporting you to do your food truck. Yeah, like that's awesome. That's fun. That's enjoy. But it's like, yeah, I need somebody to
watch your kid,
tend for the kids. Yeah, it's not that's not a cool job in our culture.
Well, it's so because everyone does it. You know what I mean? It's not quote unquote special.
But it's the most special thing. It's the thing that's it's our future. It should be our focus, really. I mean, they need to be taught right. And we have this culture of women that don't even believe in having kids anymore. Like, it's not cool to have kids.
It's like we've forgotten gender roles in this country. Like,
no, we didn't forget them. We said, fuck.
We've been forced to get out of that paradigm where the man worked and the woman raised the children, which is how it should be, because that's just how it's been in nature. I understand the women's need to be progressive and do all these things, but what happened was, through their efforts, they overshot it. So now every woman has to work.
Yeah.
So it kind of got, I understand a woman wants to work, and that's great, but you shouldn't have to. And as a culture, we've made it so man, woman, and child has to work. Yeah. And that's what JFK was trying to avoid.
Yeah. That story is the depressing reality we should be focusing on, not the one over in pick a country. That's what we should be fighting for. We should be fighting for things like 4 years maternity leave. Fuck it, we want the mother to raise the kid for 4 years, and not even an option. Oh, you're a mother, can't work here.
Brilliant. I love that.
Just like if you're.
But how can you?
Wait. So we go to felons and say you can't work here, but our mothers, yeah, come on, fuck your kids, send them off to some stranger.
Whoa.
Well, that's extreme, but I hear what you're saying.
How does that create equality?
Yeah,
it's not about creating equality. It's about creating the right future that we want the world to look like.
What's the
right
who's
to say?
And
who's
the
to say
research is out there.
The woman is a good mother.
What's that?
Who's to say the woman's a good mother and she's not going to take advantage of that system? a woman just has kids because she doesn't want to work ever. Like there's always ways to.
In
so
my experience,
that's an extreme way
now
to
you're
look
like,
at it.
No, that,
Well,
yes, yeah.
which is
That's
fine.
why
She
they're
doesn't
coming
have to
at
work.
you so hard.
But
It shouldn't-
raising
it
a
shouldn't be
child
they
is
can't
work.
work. They
I mean,
can
it is a thing that
And it should be
requires
done by
full-time dedication and
both parents.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but someone's got to work, right? In this country, someone's got to work, so let it be the man, because
That's been
and the
the role.
research is out there already. That the importance of the maternal mother and the infant up into a set amount of years, and if it's severed at the wrong time, this child statistically will be an enemy of the state.
I
That's
think
4
it is
years, I'm
important
assuming.
No,
to
it's
have
actually about
a
18 months, but
mother and father involved in the child's life. I don't think there should be any kind of forced, like you're not able to work. There should be an option.
Yeah,
And
there's
I
an
think there should
but
be
the- but-
longer maternity leave. It should be easier for women who want to have kids and have a job to be able to do both. They should be supported more by our system.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
agree.
is the
Yeah, I
issue.
just gave you
Well,
4
the
years
problem-
maternity leave.
Like
That might
in
happen.
other countries, but you don't need 4 years maternity leave.
I'm not saying you
don't need
need
that
it,
much.
Well,
but
the problem is as we can see, part-time work is no longer part-time work. You know,
Sure.
like a mother, like you said, who just wants to get a job and get out of the house, is she's working at a retail position where she has to work those hours because that's what they say. There's no flexible hours anywhere. You know, so it becomes like kind of this thing where you get locked into it, and then you meet the people and you understand that they need you and you want to help, and then you're just sucked into that trap. It's tough.
to
man.
go a
It's-
little
it's a
deeper
tough
on
earth.
this maternity leave suggestion, it was more because I truly believe from my experience the women that had to go back to work obligatory because of financial reasons after conceiving were not happy about it at all. I don't think there's one mother in the world that would be. Like naturally, I mean, think about that. Think about doing that to a bear. Hey bear, leave your cub, you gotta work. Rips your face off. That's
Yeah.
the kind of mothers I
Well, you
want
don't
to
have
see.
a choice when you have to,
You
yeah.
have to, yeah.
But like if
Right.
you're
But if you have
you
4-year
like a
maternity
bartending
leave,
gig or something.
Well, he has a good point.
But if you
I
have
mean, you
4
should,
No,
you should
I
never
do
dictate
see
it.
the
You should
point.
never dictate it.
but we
but-
dictate the opposite. We dictate that you have to work. So
Huh.
I'm going the other way.
That's okay.
No, we don't. You don't have to work, but you're not
Well,
going to make any money.
Right, you're not
Right.
going to be able
So
to.
If you have a child, though.
Yeah. You don't have to work with a child. Like, you don't have to go back
Fine,
to
we
work.
are free in this country not to work with
But-
a child, but good luck keeping the child because the state will say, oh, you're not working? We have that now. Go get a job. And then maybe you can be a player in this game.
So who's going to pay who's going to pay out 4 years of salary or whatever to this mother?
In a utopia, you take out of the military budget, you know, and it probably wouldn't even put a dent in it. That's in a utopia, but we live in a society where military is like how much of the spending?
I don't even know. It's numbers
That's
that don't
back to
even
the original
exist in
point of our
reality.
conversation. We
There's
don't
more
need
dollars
to
than
spend
there
that
are
much.
anything on the planet.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
there's-
and it's not even, they're not even really there. It's all digital. There's $1 trillion somewhere, but nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, the government lost fucking like 100 trillion.
I don't
Like,
get
the
that.
government lost $4 trillion. Like,
Where'd it go?
I think I read somewhere that you have to spend $1 million every day since Jesus was born to spend $1 trillion.
There's a trillion of anything you'd find. a trillion, I don't know, hairs. There's a trillion hairs everywhere. Get it off me.
That's 1,000 billions.
Not even a number.
That's 1,000 billions.
It's a number used for
That's-
stars. That's about it, I guess. A trillion stars. A trillion
Is that
of
the number
anything.
they use?
I don't
thought
know.
it was billions.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
Once
too
you're
big.
once you're at trillions, you're kind of flirting with infinity.
Yeah. Might as well
Like,
just be infinity at that point. Trillion, infinity, fuck it. Call it all off.
Yeah,
So,
it's
Conceptually.
like as far as our
Can't
human
think
brain
that much.
comprehension.
we would never need to count a trillion of anything.
We couldn't. You
If
die.
we were just hanging out, like,
You die.
go count the rocks. All right. Let me know when you get to a trillion.
Have a good life.
Enjoy life. And that's what we used to do.
Count to it, find 1 trillion rocks. Hey, this is all the rocks. Find them. There's over 1 trillion here. Just find 1 trillion of them.
Oh, you don't believe me? Count them for yourself.
God damn. I mean, so there's 1 trillionth of a second that just went by.
Oh,
There's an
stop it.
infinite
now
amount
we're
of
getting
trillionths of
smaller.
seconds.
Yeah, I can't go the other way either. That doesn't exist either.
Continuum without you.
There's 1 trillion frames of us just standing in the same position until it gets to the next second.
That's cool to think about.
It's fucking fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I hear that's how it works. It's just a bunch of fucking layers of one little things on top of each other, just snapshots of life. And at every moment and every decision, you change it. You alter the reality.
Trillions of the little
My brain
atoms
can't do it.
vibrating together.
Trillions.
Right?
Trillions.
My brain can't think that way.
I gotta piss. I'm gonna check out this building. You think they'll let us in?
School of Engineering and Applied Science. Yes, I think they'll let you in. You look like you belong.
Yeah, you're fine.
You look like you belong. You blend right in.
Hey, if you want to catch up with Vince on your own, then you need to visit catchingupwithvince.com.